Привет. I'm Chuck Olinik. I'm a Ukrainian-American who was baptized with the name Yaroslav, and that's also the name I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism. I decided to put my research into Slavic legends and folklore and history and transform these into videos to share with people in the society and hopefully inspire people to do further research to develop their own personae. So, today is the winter solstice, and so I'm here to talk to you about Ded Moroz, or Ded Morozko, Grandfather Frost. And he's a legendary figure in Slavic lore and actually throughout Eastern Europe and the steppes. And he's very similar in a lot of ways to St. Nicholas and to Father Christmas and Santa Claus. So, hey, it's that time of year. Ded Moroz wears a heel-length fur coat and a fur hat and what are called valenki. Those are felt boots that he has on his feet. He's got a long white beard. He walks with a long magic stick and often rides in a troika. He's often depicted bringing presents to well-mannered children, often delivering them in person in the days of December and secretly under the New Year tree overnight on New Year's Eve. So you can kind of see the Santa Claus and St. Nicholas connection. His origins are kind of confusing. In some tales, Moroz or Morozko, he's a frost demon, and he hides in the fir trees and snaps his fingers, and that splits and shatters trees, jumps from tree to tree, and he's real mischievous and causes damage whenever he pauses. In some stories, he's nameless, and he appears to a peasant as a thin, hunched man with gray hair and bushy, Gandalf eyebrows, and is usually malevolent. In others, he's Grandfather Frost, right? Ded Moroz or Morozko. The friendly personification of frost as long as the wind isn't around. In East Slavic cultures, Ded Moroz is accompanied by Snihorochka, the snow maiden, his granddaughter and helper, and she wears a long silver blue robe and a furry cap, or she might even have a snowflake-like crown. Now, she's really unique as far as being, connected with Ded Moroz because they're similar characters in other cultures. They don't have a female counterpart. Ded Moroz, or Grandfather Frost, isn't just limited to Slavic countries or Slavic cultures. The Armenians have a version of him. Azerbaijan, which is mostly Muslim, has a version of him. You'll find him amongst the Kazakhs, the Kyrgyz, the Mongols, the Yakuts. He is all over the place. Well, here's a story about Ded Moroz. Who would tell us of the things of old, and of the things that have been, of Morozko, of Ded Moroz, Grandfather Frost, and of Marfusha? Once there lived an old widower and his daughter Marfusha. In due time, the man remarried to an older woman who had a daughter herself from a previous marriage. The woman doted on her daughter, praising her at every opportunity, but she despised her stepdaughter. She found fault with everything Marfusha did and made her work long and hard all day. One day, the old woman made up her mind to get rid of the stepdaughter once and for all. She ordered her husband, "Take her somewhere so that my eyes no longer have to see her, so that my ears no longer have to hear her, and don't take her to some relative's house. Take her into the biting cold of the forest and leave her there." The old man grieved and wept, but he knew that he could do nothing else. His wife always had her way. So he took his daughter into the forest and left her there. He turned back quickly so that he wouldn't have to see his girl freeze. Oh, the poor thing, sitting there in the snow with her body shivering, her teeth chattering. Then Morozko, the Father Frost, leaping from tree to tree, came upon her. "Are you warm, my child?" he asked. "Welcome, my dear Morozko." "Yes, I'm quite warm," she said, even though she was cold through and through. At first, Morozko had wanted to freeze the life out of her with his icy grip, but he admired the girl's stoicism and showed mercy. He gave her a warm fur coat and downy quilts before he left. In a short while, Morozko returned to check on the girl. "Are you warm enough, child?" he asked. "Welcome again, my dear Morozko." "Yes, I'm very warm," answered Marfusha. And indeed she was warmer. So this time, Morozko brought a large box for her to sit upon, rather than having her sit in the snow. A little while later, Morozko returned once more and asked yet again how she was doing. She was doing quite well now, and this time Morozko gave her silver and gold jewelry to wear, with enough jewels to fill the box she was sitting on. Meanwhile, back at Marfusha's father's hut, the old woman told her husband to go back into the forest to bring back the body of his daughter. She wished to see with her own eyes that he had obeyed her and that his daughter was dead. He did as he was ordered. He arrived at the spot where he had left Marfusha and was overjoyed. Marfusha was alive, wrapped in a coat of sable adorned with silver and gold. When he arrived home with his daughter and the box of jewels, his wife looked on in amazement. "Harness the horse, you old goat. Take my own daughter to that same spot in the forest. Leave her there," she said. The old man did as he was told. Like the other girl at first, the old woman's daughter began to shake and shiver. In a short while, Morozko came by and asked her how she was doing. "Are you blind?" she replied. "Can't you see my hands and feet are quite numb? I am cold. I am miserable. Curse you, you old man, you old fool." Dawn had hardly broken the next day when, back at the old man's hut, the old woman woke her husband and told him to bring back her daughter, adding, "Be careful with the box of jewels." The old man obeyed and went to fetch the girl. A short while later, the gate to the yard creaked. The old woman went outside and saw her husband standing next to the sleigh. She rushed forward and pulled aside the sleigh's cover, expecting to see jewels and her daughter. To her horror, she saw the body of her daughter, frozen by an angry Morozko. She began to scream and berate her husband, but it was all in vain. Later, Marfusha married a neighbor, had children, lived happily. Her father would visit his grandchildren every now and then and remind them to always respect Ded Moroz.